Hi, I'm Kevin, and this is a Kevin's Shop video. This is a 7¼ inch Ryobi skill saw that I dug out of someone's trash, and it was kind of rusty when I first got it. So I've kind of cleaned it up. The blade was rusty, and I cleaned that up with a scouring pad and some rust remover. And I plugged it in and fired it up, and it just sounded like heck. It just had a squealing sound, and it was coming from this end here. And so I want to show you what I did to fix that problem. So I've taken this end cap off the end of this saw, and turns out I think this was left out in the rain or something, and corrosion got into this bearing. There's a little bearing in here that supports this end of the armature, and this is the bearing, and it was just rough, and that was what was causing the noise. Unfortunately, I think it spun a little bit in this plastic housing, and so what I did is I removed the armature, and I made this little puller so that I could pull this bearing off the armature, and then I could replace it with a new bearing. But what had happened is the bearing spun in this plastic housing, and it was a little bit loose, and that wasn't going to work. So I didn't want to replace the whole housing of the saw. And so what I did is I came up with a way to support and then key this outside of the bearing to the housing. I made a little plate out of sheet metal, kind of like a washer with two ears on each side, and I bent those down, and then I tapped them on each side for these little 832 Allen screws, and then I threaded those in, and I bored some holes in the housing so that these screws could go in and make contact on each side of this bearing. And then I tightened them up carefully, just enough to hold that bearing stable. And then I had these little nuts on here and locked those nuts down, and that stabilized this bearing. And I was able to fix this saw without a lot of money or time. Okay, I wanted to fire the saw up. I replaced that end cap, and I'll just go ahead and fire this up quickly, and you can see how it sounds.